experts are now suggesting a whole new vaccine could be needed by next year to combat future strains of COVID. One America's Pearson Sharp has more.
America may have just put a temporary halt to the cash grab forever war in Afghanistan, but it looks like the cash grab for the forever virus is here to stay. The head of BioNTech, the makers of the wildly successful and profitable Pfizer vaccine, says he thinks it's pretty likely we'll need a new vaccine by next year to tackle the next generation of China virus variants. You know, because this vaccine works so well. I don't remember needing a new polio vaccine every year because the polio virus kept coming out with new variants. But I guess having an effective vaccine you only need to take once wouldn't bring in $60 billion a year for Pfizer and Moderna. BioNTech CEO said there's no reason to believe the next generation of the Fauci flu will be any easier to deal with. So by the middle of next year, it's likely a whole new vaccine will be needed. And then a whole new round of secondary doses, followed up, of course, by more booster shots. We're stocking up on Pfizer, so we can send Pfizer's stock up. It's a tight little arrangement, but it means the American people can look forward to endless injections with leaky vaccines for the rest of our lives. The problem with this news is that it clearly demonstrates the vaccines aren't that effective to begin with. A recent study shows the vaccines have a 10-fold drop-off in antibodies after just 7 months, and that's following the second dose. That drop in antibodies means your own body will have a harder time fighting the virus if you get infected, and that's for all the variants, including Delta, Beta, and Mu. And this is backed up by the latest expose from Project Veritas, which caught scientists working at Pfizer admitting on camera that the vaccine isn't as effective as your own natural immunity.
What the vaccine is, like I said, that protein, so that's just on the outside. So it's just one antibody against one specific virus. When you actually get the virus, you're going to start producing antibodies against like one more piece of the virus. And not only just like that outside portion, like the inside portion, the actual virus. So your antibodies are probably better at that point than the vaccination.
It might be shocking for some to hear, but we want to point out this is what One America News has been reporting the entire time since the beginning of the pandemic. But our reports were covered up, censored online, banned by big tech as dangerous misinformation, even though it's backed up by science. The latest study the mainstream media isn't talking about and politicians with stock in Pfizer are trying to cover up shows people who have previously been infected with the coronavirus continue carrying antibodies for at least 12 months, but likely for much longer. The peer-reviewed study from Finland was published in the European Journal of Immunology on September 24th and found after 8 months, 96% of the subjects still had neutralizing antibodies. After 12 months, the number of people carrying antibodies only dropped by 7 points, down to 89%. And that includes protection against the virus variants as well, with the vast majority of subjects having antibodies against the Delta variant, no booster shot needed. This is supported by data from Israel, where the largest real-world study of the vaccine ever conducted found that natural immunity affords longer-lasting and stronger protection against infection, symptomatic disease, and hospitalization from the coronavirus than the COVID vaccine. But none of this matters because it contradicts the media and medical establishment's narrative about COVID. And you don't want to contradict the high profit of Big Pharma, the good doctor and dog murderer Anthony Fauci, do you? Here